Ever feel like your investments are just stuck? Like you're missing something that could take your portfolio to the next level, but you can't quite put your finger on it? That's exactly what I was feeling when I decided to test the Seeking Alpha portfolio tracker. I wasn't looking for another fancy dashboard. I was looking for something that could actually help me make smarter decisions. And what I found, it changed how I manage my portfolio every single week. And let me walk you through it. It's a few simple things, but before I ever thought about testing Seeking Alpha Portfolio, I actually did what I always do with any portfolio tracking tool that I'm thinking about paying for and getting some use from. I actually went deep down into the reviews themselves. And not just the surface level stuff either. I mean digging through the negative reviews, all that down there, to see, where things can actually go wrong and what goes wrong when it does. And yeah, I found one that gave me pause. One user said he signed up for the $4.95 one-month premium trial, but ended up being charged $499 for alpha picks. Now, that's the kind of thing that makes you hesitate, right? Like getting charged for that. But the platform itself did respond, and they explained that premium and alpha picks are separate services, and it sounded like this might have been a mix-up during checkout, so they offered to look into the charge and make things right if the user followed up with them and stayed in communication. Alright, honestly, billing issues like that are, never fun, but I have used enough subscription tools to know that these things can happen even when they're pretty rare, and as long as you're using a credit card, you always have some protection at least. So from what I saw while digging through the reviews, this didn't even seem like a common issue, and I haven't had anything close to that experience myself. That said, not everyone feels this way. In fact, many users are saying the exact opposite. One user said that he's been using AlphaPix for over a year now and saw a 56% return in his account. Well, nice. He called it the real deal and even admitted that while the market may pull back eventually, Seeking Alpha's stock picks have still held up better than expected. Another Seeking Alpha portfolio review came from this user who said that he was in a bit of a rut, just didn't know what to buy next, and AlphaPix helped him break that paralysis, that buying paralysis, and since joining, his returns jumped by over 30%. Nice, and some of his picks even hit triple digits. That's wild. So yeah, no tool is perfect, but if the biggest red flag is this kind of rare billing misunderstanding, and the upside is better returns with less effort, I'd say the returns lean heavily in Seeking Alpha's favor here. Alright, but now is where things got interesting for me. Once I got into the Seeking Alpha portfolio tracker itself and started looking around, I realized that it's not just a basic spreadsheet style tool. It's a full ecosystem that actually makes managing your portfolio easier and, more importantly, smarter. So let's start with the symbol summary pages. I can't overstate how much time these have saved me. Every time I'm analyzing a stock, this page pulls together everything I need, valuation, momentum, profitability, growth metrics, you name it. Instead of bouncing around from Yahoo Finance to 5 other tools, it's all here in one place. It's like having a cheat sheet for every ticker I'm watching. I'm no longer wasting time opening 10 tabs just to cross-check PE ratios and dividend scores. Seeking Alpha's layout just brings all of it together in one place cleanly, and I think that alone is a huge win. Then there's what they call the Virtual Analyst Reports. This was the feature I actually didn't expect to love in this stock portfolio tracker, but now I use it almost daily now. So it's basically this AI-generated deep dive into any stock you want. But here's the thing. It doesn't just regurgitate the data that's already there, it interprets it for you. The report outlines what's driving the price, what headwinds exist, and what the upside could be. And for someone like me who's juggling a lot of tickers and doesn't always have the time to dig into 10Ks and like all the way down to the bottom, this was like having a personal research assistant. So it doesn't replace my own analysis, but it makes it so much faster to get a grip on a new company and what it's about. Now, let's talk about what this stock portfolio tracking tool is really for, the portfolio tracker itself. This is where Seeking Alpha really started to earn its spot in my workflow. Unlike the barebones trackers that I'd been using before, this one doesn't just tell you what you own and how it's doing. It actually shows you how to optimize your entire portfolio. It grades your portfolio based on a blend of Seeking Alpha's proprietary ratings in value, growth, profitability, and momentum. Then it literally shows you where your weak spots are, So like if you're overloaded on low growth stocks or missing exposure to certain sectors. This helped me rebalance my portfolio in a way that wasn't just chasing past winners, but aligning with actual fundamentals. And honestly, I've seen a clear difference in my returns since I started using it that way. All right, then there's the Alpha Picks, which is kind of the crown jewel here too. If you're not familiar, it's a stock recommendation service that gives you 2 hand-picked stocks each month. And these aren't just like random stock picks either. These are stocks that have been vetted through strict metrics, valuation, fundamentals, momentum by their analysts and people who really know what they're doing. What really impressed me though was the performance of this portfolio tracker. So since AlphaPix launched in July of 2022, the portfolio has returned over 136% compared to the S&P 500's 49% during the same period. That's not a small edge. That's massive. And what's cool is that the picks are meant to be buy and hold. It's not about jumping in and out of trades all the time. If you're like me and you don't want to live on your trading dashboard maybe 24/7, that kind of long-term mindset is pretty refreshing. And I think another angle I appreciated is how they factor in economic indicators when selecting picks. They're not just throwing darts here. These are companies chosen based on solid fundamentals, but also within sectors that are seeing strong momentum and valuation improvement. It just adds a layer of confidence that these aren't the flavor of the month ideas. Now, I've used other tools like Mobi, and while I respect what they're trying to do, it just doesn't compare, I think. Mobi keeps it simple, which might work for some. But for me, I want depth. I want to know what I'm holding and why it's positioned to win. Seeking Alpha gives me that. And that's the biggest edge here, I think. With Seeking Alpha, you're not relying on one analyst's position. You're plugged into a whole community of professionals, retail traders, deep dive analysts. That breadth of thought really makes a huge difference. So yeah, as someone who's tried just about every stock trader out there, and stock tracker and stock performance analyzer, Seeking Alpha, the portfolio tracker, is one of the ones that actually changed how I manage my investments. But now look, nothing is perfect. If I had to nitpick one downside with Seeking Alpha, it is that it can be a little overwhelming. At first, it's like when I signed up, I remember opening the dashboard and I was thinking, like, okay, where do I even start here? There's just a ton of data, a lot of features. And if you're someone who's newer to investing, it might feel like you're diving into the deep end. But here's the thing. Once I gave myself an hour or two to really explore the tools and get where things were and recognize which tools work together, it all started to click. And now I can't imagine going back to anything simpler than this and less deep. But now let's talk about the sore topic of pricing. Is the Seeking Alpha portfolio tracker free? No, not entirely. Some of the core features are available on the basic plan, but to unlock what really makes this platform special, like Alpha Picks, in-depth analyst reports, and portfolio optimization, you're gonna need premium. I'd say it's reasonably priced if you're a serious investor. If you're just dabbling with a couple $100 in your account, it might feel like overkill, but if you're managing real money or want to start treating your investments like real money, it's worth every penny and returns a lot on that. So just check the link in the description for the most up-to-date pricing plans. They also run promos from time to time, so if they're offering a discount, you'll find it there. But okay, so why did I switch to the Seeking Alpha portfolio tracker? Because it didn't just show me my portfolio. It helped me optimize it. It's the first tool that made me feel like I was managing my investments instead of just monitoring them and sometimes making guesses. So whether you're a hands-on trader or a long-term investor, this platform gives you the tools and the confidence to invest smarter. Check the link in the description of this video to get started with our special discount and coupon.